this is just what I love doing and what I love to see. And it's really humbling at times that I've been given the opportunity, but still at the same time, it's quite surreal because I'm just part of this award-winning campaign now, and I'm representing the club that I followed since being young. And sometimes I do have to take a step back and think, wow.
Hello, welcome to a special edition of the Absolute Football Podcast, which is very different from our previous episodes because this one is all about Charlotte, which helps because Charlotte is here. Better to have an episode about you with you on it than the rest of us, so we can ask you questions directly. Fantastic. How are you today, Charlotte?
Yeah, I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm not too bad. We have, of course, just come off of the light bite. So when this drops, you can come and see what we just talked about football shirts, which was a very exciting and fun chat, which you can find on the YouTube channel as well. But watch this episode first and then go to that one. You'll know everything about Charlotte and then you'll know everything about what she likes about football shirts. So it works very well in a timeline plan, you see. So we're here to talk about you. Obviously, we've been doing podcasting together since we started the Absolute Podcast together in, I think it was October. I want to say September, October, wasn't it? Was when we started.
I think it was October.
It was October. Yeah, we are originals, aren't we? Me, you, Lucas, and we are OGs of the pod. We've done many a light bite and many a podcast so far. So we're now going to delve in and find out a little bit more about yourself. We have some fan questions, so thank you to everybody who posted across on the socials your questions. We will get to those later and we'll ask them out and find out Charlotte's response to them. But first of all, so we obviously are a football podcast. Football's what we talk about most of the time. Sometimes we go off topic, singing and music and everything else like that. But so for you, football, where did football all begin for you?
Well, football all began for me, obviously. My dad's a big Rochdale fan. He was actually, growing up, he was a Manchester United fan, my dad. But my grandma and granddad wouldn't let him go to games because obviously Manchester United's obviously a bigger club. There was obviously unsure about safety and stuff. Obviously, him and his mates travelling to Manchester at the time because we are local, to Rochdale. So they kind of had a compromise with him and said, we'll let you go to Rochdale if that's what you want with your friends. But that's kind of it. We don't want you going United on your own. So he made the compromise. And then obviously, the more he went from being a kid to obviously he still goes now. And that's how I'm a Rochdale fan, just through my dad. And as a baby, I had the kits, and then I started watching Rochdale. I think my first game was when I was 4 years old, but I will admit that wasn't for the football. It was because I loved Desmond the Dragon, our mascot, and the pies are great at Rochdale. So that at first was the reason I went. But as I started going more and more with my dad, it was the 98-99 season where I was full on really invested into it. Obviously, I had a season ticket then. And just from there, it's always been Rochdale.
Desmond the Dragon was the start.
Desmond the Dragon was the start of my love story with Rochdale.
Good old Desi.
I know, but even just as my love for Rochdale obviously got stronger and I started going more with my dad, it was kind of mine and my dad's thing. But my sister is a Manchester United fan as well, so it'd take us then to the odd Manchester United game when obviously Dale weren't playing, like a midweek game. So I've been watching Manchester United a few times with them as well. And just in general, I just love watching football, and it doesn't matter what games on the TV. I just love watching it. And now I have 2 young boys as well. Bob is 7, is nearly 8, and he plays football. He absolutely loves watching it. I'm their goalkeeper when they play it outside. He loves shooting.
Are you a good goalkeeper though? Do you make any saves?
To be fair, I do try my best. He's quite good though. He's one of those kids who he takes a free kicks as well at his football team, and he can ping them. He can ping them. So half of the time I try to save them, but because he pings them like that hard and that fast, it's like, whoa, get out of the way.
Too good, just too good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of just stemmed from there really, and then obviously, just being a kid in general, I used to collect the football stickers and the football cards for Premier League. So just
Merlin,
a bit of
Slippers,
everything. Yeah, just
yeah.
football in general.
Did you ever play much when you were younger? Were you on the playing side or just on the watching?
Don't get me wrong, in school and stuff, and for like school teams, I played football, but I've never been good at playing football. I've always loved watching it. I've always loved, obviously, the game in general, but playing football, I will admit, I'm not the best, but that is because I run like Phoebe out of Friends as well. I don't know if anyone's seen me running, but that is me. That is literally my
With the old,
I run like I've got shopping bags.
shopping bag. You'll be getting pulled up by the referee every 5 minutes for hands in the face. Get off. Well, so a lot of football with your family, a lot of football obviously now with your boy and doing it. Your friends groups football at school, were they mostly, or did you kind of have things in that outside of football that interested you too?
To be fair, yeah. With me, I had a lot of friends, whether it be female friends, whether it be male friends. Actually, at the time, my female friends in general at school weren't really into football. They were into sport. It was more netball and stuff, but that was for like females then, that was kind of the normal. It's only now in recent times it's kind of evolved with obviously campaigns like HerGameToo. But yeah, in school in general, I used to talk to the boys about football. Some of the girls who were interested in football, but then obviously going to Rochdale games, I kind of got my own group of friends there. My best friend Victoria, she's a Rochdale fan, and we've known each other now for, I think it's 14 years, and we've been friends ever since, kind of thing. We met at football, and then we've just carried on our friendship throughout. She's part of my HerGameToo team as well, so it's really good in that aspect with Rochdale because we are a small community club. You kind of know each other, and obviously as years go by, you can kind of watch everyone grow up, and like it's like me now. I've got my own family who obviously go, my little boy Bobby, and then there's my friends who their kids go now, obviously the older generation. It is quite good, like seeing everyone, and everyone just kind of know each other.
And so if you've got that special relationship with someone that you've grown up with, and if you've met particularly through football and having that, say that's special to, you're just going and watching the football and it's the result, as you say, it's more about that experience and knowing the people and the social side. Like, and I think that's the better thing, isn't it, with the lower leagues, is that you kind of have that option to do so, and the way that the pitches are laid out. And because I mean, I've been to, my local ground is actually Eastleigh, and I've been a few times there, and you can see people just going around, and they catch up with each other every week, every home game, and you can sort of see them going around. It's really nice, as you say, it's that community atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like even the players, the management team, like just from growing up, there's always been events going on where you can go and meet the players. They have open training sessions where they'll do a training session for like an hour and a half, and then they'll go around and sign football, sign programs, sign kids' shirts, and have pictures with them, which is really good, and just talk to fans. And like the end of season's awards evening, fans are welcome to go and see the players and meet the players as well. So it's like aspects like that, even though these players are our heroes, because obviously they play for Rochdale, at the same time you can meet them, and it's not as if it's like the Premier League stars, and it is harder. It is quite good at Rochdale because you do kind of have that relationship, and as much as Premier League and stuff, you are obviously a fan. I feel like you are more of just a number to them because you don't really have that, but you matter at Rochdale, and you have that relationship no matter whether it's with a member of staff, whether it's with the manager, whether it's with one of the players. I feel like you do get that more lower league.
Yeah, it's more inclusive, isn't it? As you said, it's more inclusive of that community feel, and you're just someone who spends money at the bigger clubs, and you don't get access. And you know, I can understand to the extent millions and millions of fans and all the rest of it.
Of course,
you don't, but it does lack something, and it gives that football that grassroots feel, I think, doesn't it? When you've got that connection, and obviously through doing your HerGameToo stuff, which we'll come on to, that helps as well, because you get to do so many cool things with Rochdale and the community in terms of bringing that all together. So do you find through sort of doing that you're a Rochdale mini celebrity when you're there, sort of like people are people are photos with you must be as important as the players now at Rochdale. I think you need a permanent role on the staff.
Honestly, it's really humbling, really, and I just find it amazing when little girls come up to me, or like the dads bring the girl up to me. We had one last season called Freya, and it was the HerGameToo dedicated fixture, and a dad came up to me and said, "Oh, are you Charlotte?" So I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" That was my first reaction. I was like, "Oh no, what have I done?" And he said,
"No, it's her. No, not Charlotte." Yeah.
He actually said this is Freya's first home game. She follows Rochdale, but she's never been to a game, and I can't remember. They moved, I think, to, I don't know if it was down south or somewhere. It was somewhere like further away now. They moved. So they didn't really get to go to many home games anymore. It was just the away games, round about where they're from. They got to go to. And he just said she loves listening to mine and Isabel's podcast, A Day Away. And you do so much for like girls in football. And they actually asked for a picture as well. So I had a picture with her and she put it as a screensaver and stuff like that. Was just so sweet. But it
must be quite surreal in some ways, I guess. Like, so you do this stuff and that you've got, and people coming up to you and recognizing you for stuff you're doing must be, just to say, very humbling.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously the under-10s one as well, the cup, which I mentioned on a podcast on Monday. And I got invited to the medal ceremony with one of our directors to obviously hand over the medal. So I got to meet all them girls, and they were just so they were so happy to like see me, and just that I came, and I'm like, no, you shouldn't be the ones who are happy to see me. I'm happy to see you. Like, this is just what I love doing and what I love to see. And it's really humbling at times that I've been given the opportunity, but still at the same time, it's quite surreal because I'm just part of this award-winning campaign now, and I'm representing the club that I followed since being young. And sometimes I do have to take a step back and think, wow, I'm actually like part of this. But yeah, it's surreal. But as much as it's so good getting everyone's support and like the encouragement, it's the youngsters and the young girls that I love, like coming up to me the most, and like, just seeing them playing football and going to games and things like that. They're the kind of people that I like doing it for, more so because they're the next generation. And I would have loved someone there for me when I was younger, doing this that we're all doing from HerGameToo. So yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it.
It's really massive, and so I think the fact, as you said, that they're looking up to you that's exactly what the HerGameToo message is kind of about. And so these young girls are sort of looking at you as much as the players and everything else like that, and saying, look, you're heavily involved and that and bringing that through. So yeah, I think you're trailblazing. It's an amazing campaign, I think, and it's done fantastic things over. So the short time I've known you since we've done the podcast, but obviously before that as well, it's like it's taken off, and it seems to be adding more and more arms and things. And was it something you kind of had a long-term plan you were going to get into? Or was it just one of those things that kind of just developed getting into it originally?
Yeah, it kind of developed really because me and Isabel. Well, I'll start off with obviously with the Day Away at first. I kind of had this idea, and I've really wanted to do podcast ages. I thought, I don't know what to do, or I don't know where to start. So it was really mental actually, because I was thinking about doing one for a while, and then Rochdale actually partnered up with HerGameToo, and shown their support to it. So I thought, do you know what? After this, now's the time to obviously try and get a podcast going. So I just put a general tweet out and was like, does any other female Rochdale fans be interested in doing a podcast? I've got this idea. If you're interested, DM me. So I thought I'll just reach out to people. And Isabel was the first one, and she said, oh, I've had a similar idea as well. We should definitely get talking and try and sort something. So that's where the Day Away came from. And from the Day Away, we started talking about HerGameToo, and Lucy, one of the co-founders, was our first guest, on our podcast. And from there, and just showing our support, it kind of developed. And then on the run up to the dedicated fixture in not this year, last year, so 2022. 2022? Yeah, last season's, not this season's, because we've had 2 in 2022. So it was a March one. They actually did, they were actually looking for an ambassador. And Kaz, founder of HerGameToo, messaged me and said, this will be perfect to you. It's obviously open to everyone, and put an application in. And obviously, if you don't get it as an ambassador, there's a lot of other roles. You could be an advocate, or you can just show your support to them. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it, see what happens. And anyway, I got it. And I actually got announced on my birthday on the 11th of March. Yeah. I got announced on my birthday on the 11th of March, and it was a dedicated fixture on the 12th. So it was kind of like unveiled then at the club. So
awesome. Very good.
Yeah. So it's just kind of gone from there. And then obviously it's kind of getting the campaign out there. So using your platforms, using your social media to kind of get the word out there to people. And then as well as that, it's trying to make changes at football, trying to make women feel safe, just different ideas for women. And obviously we've got Richard O'Donnell on board now as well. So it was just kind of had to start for getting the word out there so people knew what the campaign was and knew what the campaign was about. And then since then, it's like bringing all of our ideas on board, not just mine, but the rest of my HerGameToo team, and obviously getting advice and getting obviously other people's opinions who are Rochdale fans, no matter what age as well.
Yeah. As you said, like so it's quite those stories are always quite interesting to me, because they're always kind of like you start on kind of a road and then it always meanders out, and sort of particularly in this kind of world, as we've seen with like what we do in podcast, it kind of just worms its own way. And as you said, that's quite a quick turnaround, really. You think March last year, that's not even 12 months ago. You know, we're always coming up to the year anniversary for you. They can do your party, an ambassador party, and you can have a double birthday ambassador party. But no, it's a really positive movement, and so everything that I've kind of seen from it just seems it's taking strength to strength, and the stuff that you guys are doing is just fantastic. And obviously it's quite inclusive, but at the same time there's quite a lot to do. I think this is it, the stuff that you're always telling us that you're doing behind the scenes. There's quite a lot that goes into it, like obviously like you're meeting with the young girls and stuff like that, and doing bits and pieces. It's quite a lot. How do you fit it all in?
It's one of them as well. Like each and every one of us who's part of HerGameToo, it's not a job and we don't get paid for it. We're all volunteers at the end of the day. We're just doing it for positive changes and to try and like include women and to make them feel safe, and for our specific football clubs, and not just for our football clubs. It's like I'm like, when I've got an idea in my head and I want to do something, I do it properly. So I had a PowerPoint presentation, and literally I put everything in this PowerPoint presentation, what I wanted to do. And I sent it into the group as well. And I was like, I've got this idea in our HerGameToo group chat. And since then, a lot of people have been trying to use that as a template as well, because they found it that good. And they were like, oh, am I all right to do this idea? Can I help? Can I use this idea at my club? And I just said to him, I said, you don't have to ask. I said, at the end of the day, we're all one campaign. If you have that idea at your club, no matter if I was the first one to do it or if it was my idea, we're a team. So at the end of the day, positive changes. It's like the player advocate. Now we've got player advocates for Gillingham. We've got player advocates for Accrington as well. So I just think no matter who comes up with the idea, if it works at every other club, it might not work at some clubs, but if it works at certain clubs, then just go for it. But I just think a lot of people forget as well that we are doing it voluntary. And it's like, as much as there's so many positive feedbacks and positive messages like online, you do get people who obviously don't really know much about it, who do have the say. And I know a lot of people was like, oh, the money, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, none of us are doing it for money. It's all like our own time. It's all voluntary. It's all just using it in our spare time. It's like when I went to the medal ceremony as well, I'd just finished work, went straight there and stuff, obviously spent time with the girls. And it's kind of having that balance, but at the same time, with me, I want to make an effort because these are the girls who I want to inspire. And as much as it's amazing going meeting players at Rochdale and having like the team pictures and stuff leading up to the dedicated fixture, I would 100% pick going meeting, obviously, these young girls and being part of their medal ceremony over going meeting the players and doing that kind of side of it. Because to me, as much as it's great doing that for the club, them little girls, it's just priceless, and watching them and seeing them and just seeing their faces and how they love playing football. Like I was talking to them about football, and they was just so excited and so like proud of themselves, and just the encouragement and what you want to do to them kind of people. So as much as it is busy and it is quite intense at times, it's so worth it, because just seeing the smile on their faces and just getting a tweet saying, oh, you've inspired me to go and play football, or, oh, I've gone to my first football game today, or I've just tweeted, even if it's someone tweeting out an opinion on football, just for someone to feel comfortable doing it, I just think that's my job done.
Well, that's it. Your belief in the message, isn't it? It's your belief in the message is what's driving the passion to do it. And as you said, so social media can be difficult. We all know social media can be difficult, and you're always going to kind of get negative, and particularly say with the stuff you do and even the content that me and the rest of the team put out as well. You're opening yourself up to things, but at the same time that there are people that will find fault in anything or want to kind of attack. So it's kind of working between those two. But I think, as you said, like every positive message is worth gold in terms of backing what you're doing. You said even if you're inspiring one girl to kind of pick something and say, well, no, actually I am going to follow this, and I want to watch my club, or I want to go and see football, I want to play, or I want to be involved in football in some capacity, then that's kind of your a job well done, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And it's like with me, there's been a couple of older people who are Rochdale fans who don't really get it and don't really understand it, because obviously it might be a total different generation. They might not know a lot about it. So I remember having a bit of a difficult time with them, and it was like, oh, she's just doing it for likes on Twitter. She's just doing it for this and that. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to open myself up here, and I thought I'm going to tell them why I've done it. And a lot of people who obviously know me and follow me on social media, they know obviously I've got depression. I have anxiety as well. I'm a single mum with 2 boys. So once they're asleep at night, I don't really have a social life because my world revolves around them and working. So that was really the time where I used to struggle. And with my depression in particular, I used to really struggle at night because they're asleep. I don't really have much going on. Can't really go out or do anything or meet up with friends because I've got the boys. So I kind of put my everything into this and doing as much as I can with, whether it be podcasting, whether it be my HerGameToo, whether it be like putting a positive tweet on Twitter. And I just explained to him, I said, as much as I might get the following on Twitter, I might get likes, I'm not here for that. It is just because obviously I've been there before, I've struggled before, so I want to help people. And I actually said I don't have much of a social life. I don't really have many friends that I can go out and do things with because I've got my boys. Like I don't have that social life. So I said, this is why I do everything, and I put so much effort into it. And they kind of took a step back and thought, do you know what? I've judged her a bit too soon. And since that, I just think it's just since COVID as well, I just think a lot of people kind of judge people before they know them and they kind of have an opinion. But once they kind of see the bigger picture and see what, and actually get to know and see what actually the reasons are behind it, since then, obviously, I do have a lot more support from them. But yeah.
What's kind of you're gonna I think as you said, like it's that stereotypical view that you can get from people and that see things in a certain way. As you said, COVID having such a big change and the way that your life is orientated around your kids and work, which is obviously priorities are where they're at. That means that your life works a different way, and that the evenings gives you an opportunity to do something else. You said if they've and to understand that, and that they've kind of changed their view around as well, kind of, you know, sort of shows that impact you have, I think, with people, to kind of, you know, you're very, everybody I've spoken to, particularly who maybe don't deal with you or know you, kind of like, what's Charlotte like? You know, can we have her on our podcast? Because you promote so much positivity. They're like, can we sort of have it on? So I think that's really great. And you say those people maybe take time or whatever, but probably if you can turn someone with that mentality around, they probably then become like your biggest supporter. It's probably weird, honestly, like the other way around.
It's really funny as well, right? Because I'm going to talk about one of my followers now. It's called Sean. He's a Newcastle fan. And I remember putting a positive video out, and he actually had the same opinion. And we laugh about it now. He had the same opinion, and he kind of got a pile on from it. And I was like, I just said, oh, no, don't have a pile on him. He kind of is more than entitled to have his own opinion. He doesn't know me. And from that, it kind of got to know me a bit more and knew what I was about. And it was like, no, she's actually a genuinely nice girl, and she does want to, like, she is quite a nice girl. And since then, we're quite good friends now. We only know each other from Twitter, but it's just funny how someone who can totally misread you and misjudge your situation, but then when they take themselves out of it and get to know you, it's like, wow. I think it happens with a lot of people, to be honest. Like, you kind of judge a book by its cover a bit too soon, don't you? When really you should, like, they say, don't you should read the pages and get to know it.
That's
before
it.
you judge
Understands the person and the particulars, and particularly say we're in the social media generation. A lot of what we're doing, you know, with the podcast and stuff is in social media, and it's quick clicks, it's TikToks, it's everything like that. People are kind of making very snap judgments and kind of off 10, 15 seconds. And maybe because we do the podcast and stuff that you do, we get maybe more opportunity to talk things, but also we also get opened up for batterings on, you know, when we get things wrong, which we do on occasion, Lucas more than others in terms of predictions, but we do open ourselves up, and you say it is difficult. And then when someone peels back the layers and then they sort of see and understand the elements about it, and I suppose it's kind of like a long-term way when it's kind of online socially. It just takes longer than I think like a friendship in real life. You meet someone, you think, oh, they're kind of cool, you know. And then you become friends quicker, I think, don't you? Over time, it's very it takes a while. So I remember when I met Josh and I went for dinner, didn't we? Before was it this year? No, it was before Christmas, wasn't it? We went. So that was a very it was an awesome but like a strange situation at the same time. We talked for so long, we've done all of this together, and then suddenly he's sat in my living room. We're kind of looking at each other. There's a real person there, and he's like. So weird, but no, that's great. So that social element coming through in terms of what you're doing, and it all links, doesn't it? Yes, obviously doing your social, it's on the social media. You've had your podcast on Dale Way and doing that and doing some excellent things. You obviously write a bit for the program, don't you, as well, for Rochdale's one of the things that you do too, and of course you do the Absolute Football podcast as well. So you said about you always wanted to do. What was the drive? What made you want to do podcasting?
There was actually, it all came about because during COVID and stuff, I kind of listened more to podcasts because there was a lot more people streaming because they didn't really have much to do during COVID.
That's true, yeah.
There was a lot more podcasts as well. So I kind of got listening to them. Like, at the time, I was working in a care home in the kitchen. So I was still working. I was only part-time because I'm not long since, obviously, had Oliver and stuff. And I was listening more to podcasts, you know, on my way to work and then coming back from work and stuff. And there was actually a podcast called RochdaleAFC.com, and they'd interview ex-footballers. They'd talk about match analysis. They'd talk about like their favourite moments being a Rochdale fan, just everything really. And from there, we kind of got listening to it, and Isabel listened to it at the time as well. And we wanted to kind of do something they did, but there wasn't really anything from a female's point of view. And we thought it'd be really good if we could start that. So obviously we got into the Dale Way, and from that, we're invited on, because it's mental. From the Dale Way's first episode, it kind of just went off. We never expected it at all, but we released a trailer, and from releasing that trailer, it was in November. I think it was the 20th of November, and our first episode got released on the 21st because that's my sister's birthday. So from there, it just went off, and everyone wanted us on their podcast. They wanted us to appear on their Twitch channels. We were on the radio. We got approached, obviously, for the program feature last season, and that's carried on this season as well. And it just kind of went a bit crazy, but in a good way at the time. And then since then, I've had people approaching me to come and be a host on podcasts, and obviously I turned it down because I was busy. And then obviously Josh approached me obviously a couple of times for his podcasts. And when obviously I got asked to do this as well, Absolute Football Podcast, I just couldn't turn it down because obviously I love you guys. You all make me laugh. I love talking about Premier League football, especially now when Rochdale aren't doing so well. So it's kind of a nice release, because as much as I love talking about Rochdale and I love being involved with Rochdale and HerGameToo, it's kind of something else to talk about. And as a neutral as well, I feel like I don't really have any ties to any team, so I can kind of express my opinion as I want, kind of thing. And
you can calm us all down when we all get when we all get a bit excited, and you can be the sounding board to calm us all down with our rivalries. Nice. So I remember when Josh was talking to you about a podcast, because we had you as a guest on the former podcast that we were on and such, and so he was messaging me while we were on the podcast. We're messaging each other, do you think I should ask Charlotte? And we're like, yeah, definitely. I said, whether she wants to do it or not, but definitely ask her. And so I think we were all buzzing when we knew you were coming in, because we'd seen your stuff as well, and we'd had you on. I think you'd been on before on that podcast as a guest as well,
twice,
the second time. And so the vibes and so the interaction with the team all seemed very good, even off that kind of straight first episode. We were all kind of clicking off each other really well. We were sort of buzzing. And then obviously we've started this Absolute Football Podcast, and it's and we do the Light Bite every week. So we have which is something even different to football, because we just talk about anything. And
I know, our own show.
It is. And we tend to fly by half an hour, and then we're like, we better stop this because it's supposed to be a short episode, and we're just yakking for hours about whatever. So I say that's great on the podcasting side. HerGameToo is a fantastic movement and whatever, and we're proud of everything you've been doing with it and all the awards and things that are coming out and the stuff that's coming out. And it's been great from my perspective because it's allowed me to get involved in certain aspects as well. So people through you, I've been speaking to about it, have come through to me, and obviously I feel like I have an affiliation with the Rochdale fans myself now, even though I'm absolutely miles away. But Rochdale, my league, that's the League 2 result I look for first at the weekend. Is what's going on at Rochdale. So hopefully it's going to pick up. It's going to pick up. By the time, if you're watching this in May, then you'll be like, what's the problem? Rochdale finished mid-table. No problem at all.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So no issue at all. So so I think we've gone through all of those aspects and football and everything else. And I've tried not to ask too many questions because there's a lot of fan questions that came in.
I know.
A lot of questions are linked in with some great ones come through. So again, thank you to everybody who did. So I think we'll move on next to those fan questions, because people want to know what you've asked them. So I'm going to start up with the top. I'm not going to put that one because that's not actually a question. I've got links here to questions, but that's not one. So we're going to start with here. So talking of HerGameToo, Thank you to Gerardo Bronya. This came in, I put Bronya, I hope I pronounced that correctly, on Twitter, came through with, what is your biggest achievement so far with HerGameToo, and where do you hope to be in 2 years with them?
I think my biggest achievement so far, obviously, is becoming an ambassador for Rochdale. I think that's one of the main ones. Obviously building my own team, who are all people that I've known around Rochdale for years, who I obviously respect as female fans in general. They're just amazing. Getting Richard O'Donnell on board, that's fantastic. Not only just getting a male role model who's a player on board, but someone so humbling, someone who is really family orientated, is such a genuinely nice man. He does so much as well, like for the club and for fans. So just having someone like him, he has a daughter, he's been in the game for so long. It's just someone who, not only is he a great leader and a great role model on the pitch for young boys, young girls, like me, older guys in general. He's just such a lovely person as well, and he'd do anything for anyone. So just to have someone with those characteristics as well is just fantastic. So that's another one. Being invited as well to spend time at the medal ceremony the other day. We were part of Rochdale in a community where we actually did a program for a few Fridays. I think it was 4 or 5 Fridays, and it was Cultivate Your Confidence, it were called. So me and Victoria, as I mentioned before, she's one of my best friends, a Rochdale fan, but she's actually my social media advocate for HerGameToo. We went every week to go and see these girls, and it was just something to give them confidence. It was just something to kind of express themselves, group activities, and just being part of things like that. I think they're the biggest achievement, just to be given the opportunity to obviously do those things and be able to be part of their journey with them as well. I just think it's amazing. So there's just so many. There's just so many at all. But I don't feel like even though we have done a lot, I feel like there's just so much more we can do. Not only just for Rochdale, just as HerGameToo in general. I just think it's just fantastic, and there's so much more we can still do, especially with the time scale. It's not been that much at all. So yeah,
no, when you say that time scale and say what they're asking 2 years ahead, it's not that last year's been crazy with that build up. You said player ambassador, which obviously has massive potential in further sort of down the line, and then also obviously we had in football we had the Lionesses win in the summer, which has obviously added another sort of viewpoint to women's football and taken all those eyes and whatever. So I mean, do you think that's been massive as well in kind of the support the second half of this year?
Yeah, 100%. And obviously they broke records as well for selling tickets within minutes. I think, was it the USA game where they kind of sold out within minutes?
The USA game, yeah.
Yeah, and even just having those women just being part of it, and just, I'll admit, even though I'm obviously ambassador for HerGameToo and I'm part of a HerGameToo team, I'll always admit that I've never really followed women's football. It's always been the men's football I've followed. But I took the time to obviously watch the Euros and got really into the Euros. And since then, I've watched some of the England games when it's been on TV. I've seen some of the WSL games. I've been watching it and I've took the time to do it. But I think it was just because it wasn't really a big thing, and it should be, but they don't really get the same television deals. They don't really get the time to be as a men's football. So I think obviously it's been a massive help with the Lionesses, and even me, like I mentioned, being part of it now and obviously enjoying women's football, and now I've kind of got more of an interest in it. And it wasn't that I was against it or anything, because obviously I'm ambassador, but I just didn't really see it, or it wasn't really a thing, was it? Because it took so long to be a big thing.
I think you're right. As you said, it's kind of been slowly building before the summer, where it's been noticeable. I remember, I think it was the Euros and the World Cup before that was on. It got a bit more precedence. There was some things. I think I watched a couple of games in the previous years, but this, with it being at home, the kind of the feeling with everything around, and it has translated. Because I think the worry was that it would happen and that it would kind of die down off, but certainly the WSL has got way much more coverage than it used to get.
Yeah.
It's very much, particularly I've noticed on the news outlets and the media, it's very sort of high profile compared to where it used to be. I mean, so probably the other day, I think it was transfer deadline day, a couple of weeks on obviously the end of January. And one of the biggest stories was Alessia Russo of Manchester United and the bid for Arsenal. And, you know, on transfer deadline day for the men's side as well, that was still massive news, and even better news because she's not going, because she's a star striker for Man United. So hands off Arsenal, hands
Ella
off.
Toon's my favourite.
Ella Toon. Oh, I love Ella Toon.
She's my favourite.
She's hilarious as well.
I love her. She is. She's funny.
Cracks me up. So yeah. So but that was like front and centre.
Yeah.
To be on there
in the summer as well, wasn't it? Kira Walsh. Didn't she break a record, like a record signing for Barcelona? She left Manchester City and went there in the summer.
Yeah. That's it. The fees are starting to go up, and obviously, you know, men's is off into astronomical because.
Oh yeah.
because Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain and all sorts of reasons that we go into every week at the Absolute Football Podcast on a Monday. So you can catch many chats about that. But even that's increasing and slowly increasing to sort of different levels. So it's all growing together at the same time. As you say, HerGameToo is more than that, is the movement, is involvement in football in general. But to have that link kind of as the same time is good to kind of push both things together.
100%.
So we'll move on to our next question. I think we sort of asked this earlier, but just say first memory going to the football and who took you. I think you said sort of you were 4 years old. And thank you, Ryan McCluskey, for that question. Was it when you were 4 with your dad, as you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, that was when I don't really remember that game or those particular games because, as I said, I was more interested in Desmond the Dragon at that age. And I didn't really have the attention span as well. I just wanted to wave at Desmond, and I actually felt
and eat the pies. Eat the Rochdale pies.
Yeah, I feel sorry for my dad looking back because every 2 minutes I was tapping him, going, "Where's Desmond? Where's Desmond?" So, yeah, sorry, Dad, if you're watching. Sorry, but. My first memory was obviously, like I mentioned, it was 98-99 season. My first game I really do remember. We lost 2-0 against Torquay. They weren't really, the football weren't the best, don't get me wrong. We had a manager called Graham Barrow at the time, and it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the greatest at all. But I remember just kind of watching it and obviously seeing all the fans chanting. My dad was up there like going up the dale and like chanting and stuff as well. And I just kind of got the buzz for it. And then getting a season ticket that year, and I just wanted to go more and more. And then we started going away games as well. So that was how it really started.
Oh, super good. It's all got to start somewhere, isn't it? So
yeah.
I won't give away my episode, but it includes a non-league 0-0. That's all I can say about my start in football. Coming on to another, which was one of the most interesting questions we had, which is from Neil Littlewoods, I think, and say part 2 is
Neil.
I think jesting at you. But first of all, would you rather fight 100 chicken-sized elephants or 1 elephant-sized chicken?
I'm going to be honest, I probably attempt to run at all of them, but I think I wouldn't fight for 100, I don't think. I think I'd just try and take on the 1 elephant-sized chicken.
A big, it'd be like the Family Guy chicken, wouldn't he? When they have a massive fight.
Yeah, I think I'd rather do that than take elephants, on 100.
Yeah, I was 100 chicken-sized. They're just chickens, aren't they? They're just chickens with trunks.
I think I'd just go for the 1.
Yeah, take it on. There you go. There you are, Neil. You have your question answered. 1 elephant-sized chicken. And then, of course, the second question, which I think is a non-league potential jive for next season with Rochdale. Are you looking forward to Bournemouth away next season? Well, it depends when you're watching this.
As much as we are at bottom at the minute, a little bit of me is still very optimistic that we will stay in the league. Just a little bit of me, because I don't like to be negative, as you all know. But if we do get relegated, I will look forward to going Bournemouth because I've never been before. So, yeah, that's my answer.
That's your answer. If I have to, then yeah, I love it. But I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Rather not. If it can be avoided. Back to the sort of football game. If you could make 1 loanee in Dale's history permanent, who would it be? And that's coming from Skibby. Thank you, Skibby.
Oh, this is a hard one. I'm trying to think who
you've had on loan.
Do you know who I'd probably go for? I'm trying to think the loan signings. We had Tom Heaton a good few seasons ago, obviously Manchester United, and he didn't let a goal in for his time he was there. So right now I would take him. Because our defending is awful. So I would probably say him. But I'm trying to think of some loan signing. Who else have we had on loan?
Tom Heaton is a good.
This is a really tough one. Remembering loanees into his
There you go. Maybe we'll come back to it. You can have a think of that one in the background. If someone pops up to you, then we can come back to that one. So again, we've got some good questions, good range of questions that we've had in from people. This is in from Harriet Wilson. Thank you, Harriet. What was the last thing you Googled?
Right.
Can you
Do you
remember?
know what?
And can you say on air?
It's not as bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was with my sister before, and she loves doing baking. She's really good at baking cakes. And I told her that she makes cream egg brownies, which are really nice, by the way. And I said, one of the supermarkets, I've seen it in one at supermarkets, you do a cream egg spread. So she was like, oh, I can put that in my brownie. So she's Googling. So I Googled it, this cream egg spread, and I was like, where is it? So she got it up on her phone as well. And anyway, no supermarkets sell it. I saw it on Twitter.
Oh, outrageous.
So I'm there giving my sister false hope. She's fuming with me now because she was dreaming about this spread, thinking, I can put it in my baking, like it'll be really good them. But yeah, I've just kind of shattered her dreams. So.
Shattered her dreams. shattered the dream. It's always that I think it's the social media adverts. Sometimes they chuck them out and they're only available in America or somewhere else. I think I saw the other day Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream or something, which sounds very different, but I don't think you can get that over here either. And I was like, but yeah, they just do it to tease us, just to wind us up.
So she's not happy with me now. She's quite fuming with me.
Let her down.
I know.
So we've had your first football match. What's the best football match you've been to and why? And that's Elmo Davy Boy.
Oh, I've got quite a few actually. Obviously, I've mentioned it quite a few times to you before. The Tottenham game where I was at home, we were obviously losing. Stephen Davis scores in injury time. Obviously, get the replay to go to Wembley against Spurs. That's one of them. Our first season in League One under Keith Hill, we played Southampton away. So I actually went to St Mary's, and me and my dad spent a weekend, obviously, in Southampton. And from the minute we got there, and just being used to, no disrespect to like the lower teams and League Two teams at the time, but going out there from like Macclesfield away to walking out at St Mary's, it was like, I looked around, I was like, whoa. my dad was like, are you all right? I was like, I'm just taking it all in. It's a bit strange for League One. I was like, I really like League One. And we actually beat them as well, and we did the double over them that season. So that one will always be one of my all-time favourite games, but experiences as a whole, because it was like, whoa, welcome to League One. It's a lot different to League Two.
It's a step up, yeah.
FA Cup against Leeds, we ended up beating them as well. Scott Hogan and Ian Henderson scored, who's our all-time leading goal scorer. It was a chip, and it was one of the best goals I've ever seen as well. So that's definitely one of them. And going back, I would probably say, I think it was FA Cup again, and we played Coventry, and we ended up actually beating Coventry. And Paul Connor, who I mentioned was my first ever proper favourite footballer, he scored the goals as well, which ended up in him obviously getting a move then to Swansea. So that was another great game, because it was kind of one of them games that I will always like kind of remember, and just the atmosphere went crazy. And it's honestly, there's been so many, like, people think being a Rochdale fan, we wouldn't really have those kind of moments, but it's mad because I've seen like us get to a playoff final, playoff semi-final. We've been to Wembley twice. Obviously, once playing Spurs, once in a playoff final. I've seen relegations, FA Cup runs. So for a club that people aren't really that familiar with, I actually have seen quite a lot of the fan. It's quite mental.
Yeah. It's quite, so I suppose that's it. Over a tenure of time, even in those the League One and League Two going up, going down, and the playoff system offers something else, doesn't it? And offers an excitement that I think, say, if you're in the higher ups, you don't maybe appreciate as much, and say great atmosphere. I mean, I went to League One and League Two player finals once, just as a neutral, just because it's just a fun day to be involved. So say St Mary's as a stadium, for League One, because it wasn't too long after they had that they got relegated. Because I saw them play England play there. England was when they were rebuilding Wembley. That was one of the stadiums they were using, and so for that to be hosting a League One game, and they were cheeky as well, Southampton done, because they nicked the team of the year. The year they went up, they literally bought, and I think they bought a couple of Rochdale as well. They nicked a couple of your players and then literally had team of the year to get themselves out of League One, I remember.
Ricky Lambert as well, one of my favourite Dale players, ended up going Southampton as well. Ricky Lambert.
He did. He was one of that. They bought him, Ryan Dixon. I think they bought one or two others that were lead team of the year from the season before and just put them back up. That's outrageous. So we have a couple more questions here. We have, let's go for this one here. We've got, so this is for Martin, officially MPB. Huge props to the HerGameToo campaign and to all the ambassadors for their success so far. Matt, how many clubs are supporting the campaign and how can we help, he asks?
To be honest, I've lost count because there's so much happening within the whole campaign. Obviously, we're in cricket now, we're in rugby, obviously football. So I cannot, off the top of my head, remember how many we've got. But there is honestly a lot, and it's just growing each and every day, which is just fantastic. And just by helping, just showing support, whether it be on social media, whether it be buying some merchandise, whether it be at a game, if you see something happening and just supporting someone. If something happens and if you do see discriminational behavior, just asking the person if they're all right, reporting it, just anything really, just showing your support and just kind of, if you do see something happen on social media, there is a pioneer, just try to see for all right. It's just, I think it's more just general things you do just in life anyway, and general things. If you saw that behavior going on, if you obviously are the kind of person a compassionate person, you do it anyway. So yeah, just anything like that would be absolutely fantastic.
I guess it's the approach, isn't it? It's more than anything like a physical action or doing, or just kind of that. And I think, speaking of it from sort of a male perspective on it, and things can change for your life. And I've obviously got 2 young girls, and it does help, look at things very differently from that perspective. If you're looking at them growing up, things they want to do, get involved in, and things. So it does help. But I think, it's more the approach, isn't it? It's more the that kind of feeling and believing in the message and supporting out and listening. So if you are somebody that's not, say, who doesn't sort of support or doesn't understand or whatever, is it's taking the time to listen and understand what it's all about and what it's trying to do. So no, thank you, Martin. Very, very good question. Back to Rochdale's this question, Charles. So Rochdale back on for this one. What made you fall in love with supporting Rochdale from Funky Chris, who's a Rochdale fan as well, I believe?
To be honest, I think more of it, obviously, I love the club, but I think more of it was going with my dad. And it was kind of mine and my dad's thing to do. And I obviously went from being young, but when my mum and dad obviously split up, I was quite young as well. And at a weekend, it was kind of, I didn't really see my dad. I saw him the odd day because he'd work away as well. If he got time to come from work, he'd come and see me or my sister. But it was kind of Friday night we'd stay at his, and then Saturday night it'd be football day. And my sister was into other stuff as well. So she'd go with her mates and do a dancing or whatever, and she'd do something. So it was kind of mine and my dad's thing to obviously go watch Rochdale. So I think that was the main part of it, just going with my dad and it being our thing. And obviously I'm really close to my dad as a whole anyway. So it's just having that time with him. So I think that's more so how I came more and more invested and fell in love with Rochdale. But then at the same time, it was the players. So obviously O'Connor I mentioned, and obviously seeing Grant Holt play for Rochdale, obviously promotions under Keith Hill, he was just something absolutely different. And the times under Keith Hill were just amazing. I never thought, being a Rochdale fan, I'd ever see us play League One football. And we just missed out on the playoffs as well in our first season, so we did really well, and some of the moments he gave us, like playoff final, playoff semi-final, getting promoted, it was just things like that. But I think as well, just meeting the people and just Rochdale as a whole, and just how good of an atmosphere it was, and how many good people are there. Meeting friends, like I mentioned, there's just so much that makes you fall in love with Rochdale. And it sounds silly now because we're having such a bad season, but there were so many good times. And yeah, I think there's just so much to mention. I can't just name one thing.
And the good times are coming back. The Rochdale good times are coming. They're just on
hope
hold.
so.
They're not
I
gone.
hope
They're just
so.
on hold, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
On pause.
Just on hold. On pause for now. They're coming back. One final question before we get to the team's questions, which is when it gets really dicey. Really dicey. We've got Natalie. How do you want to be remembered from Natalie? What a deep question.
Oh, I just want to be remembered for doing something positive, whether it be like I'm one for like motivational tweets as well, because I just think no matter what kind of, if someone's having a bad day, no matter who it is, it might not be someone who knows me. If they come across that inspirational tweet, it might make them smile. It might have turned their bad day into a good day. It might give them motivation that they're not getting off a person at home, or if they're lonely and they've not got someone to kind of motivate them. If you see that tweet, it might make them think, oh yeah, today's another day kind of thing. And it's just things like that I want to put a positive impact on. But then obviously the football side of it, it's just inspiring not just females as well. If I can inspire someone, or if I can educate someone, if I know there's been a few people before who have been quite ignorant on social media, and turn around to them and been like, what happens if they've like sent a sexist tweet or something? I was like, what happens if someone said the same to your mother, your daughter, your sister? And it kind of makes them reflect a bit as well. So whether it be about educating, whether it be about like obviously inspiring, I just want to make positive changes, like, or just get people in a positive mindset, because I think there's so much negativity and so many cruel things going on in the world at the moment. I just want to try my best to kind of change. I'm not going to change the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to change the world, but I'd like to kind of make someone's day, or kind of, yeah, just kind of give them that boost if they need it and something. Because I've been in a bad place before, and obviously I struggle with my mental health as well. So I kind of know what it's like. So if I can change someone, or if I can like make them happy, or make them smile, or make a positive impact for their day, that's something I really want to do.
Oh, that's lovely. There we go. Positivity, spread of positivity. Yes. Which is what the podcast is all about as well. So absolutely positivity. I'm sure that's what we all remember of you anyway, Shah. So that's going to carry on. I've no doubt about it. So now it's tricky question time, because you've got questions from the team. See that have. We thought we had some random ones. We've now got some ones to probe a bit further from people that know you a little bit. So I've got 4 questions here that I've selected. First of all, I haven't written these down on here. This is on our Discord chat, so hence why they're not going to come up on screen. But if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, this is a tough one because I love Marvel as well. So I'm like one for superpowers and stuff. I'm a Marvel fan, yeah. So. But I think I'd go a bit different. I think I'd love to read minds, because it's so much easier in life if I could read people's minds and know what they were thinking, and it would help my anxiety a hell of a lot. So yeah, I think reading minds would be one, because I'd love to know what everyone's thinking.
That would be, because you imagine how dangerous that would be. You kind of be like, you'd have to be like, was it Magneto and Magneto and X-Men who had to have that on so you couldn't read his mind?
Yeah.
To kind of protect it.
I'd love that.
I think mine would just be if I'm sat in like tumbleweed going down there sometimes, or some sort of, normally a song. It'd be some kind of song going on in the background, but nothing in relevance to what I'm doing. Something distracting. So okay, so superpower would be mind reading. And we also have in here, who is your celebrity crush? Is the next question. Not including Mason Mount.
Oh, I won't include him, but he's one of them.
Well,
I will go.
We kind of guessed.
I know. Footballer, I absolutely love Sergio Ramos. I've loved Sergio Ramos for years now. He's probably my footballing celebrity crush. Actor, I absolutely love. Even though Iron Man's my favorite superhero, I love Chris Evans, Captain America.
Yeah, okay,
so he's probably my actor.
Yeah.
And I've got a random one as well, and I do kind of get a bit like, what? When I say it, but I'm a big fan of Post Malone, so I kind of have a little bit of a weird crush on Post Malone.
Post Malone. I think everyone's got that one, and they're kind of like, I shouldn't really, and I won't say it out loud, but what? Post Malone. But there you go. It's a good mix. I could see Post Malone could play. Post Malone and Sergio Ramos would be a good centre back partnership. They'd be well in company, I think. So there you go. So Sergio Ramos, Post Malone, and Chris Evans,
Mount
and Mason
is one
Mount.
Of them.
Yeah. Mason Mount is in there as well. Of course. Next question is: if you could go on a reality show, what would it be?
Oh, it definitely wouldn't be Love Island anyway. I'm a celeb. Obviously, I've got to be a celebrity for that, but I'm a celebrity. Getting me out of here, I would love, because I love nature. So the nature side of it, apart from frogs are my worst fear. So I couldn't do anything
spiders
with
and
frogs
snakes and.
I don't mind spiders. I don't mind snakes. Honestly, I would rather parachute from like a helicopter, an aeroplane, like climb a tall building, abseil from a tall building, than be anywhere near a frog.
There you go. Just don't tell the producers that at the start, then you'll be fine.
I know, no. So I'd probably say I'm a celebrity, or I think I could probably do Big Brother as well. They're probably the two I could probably do, kind of thing. So, but not Love Island, not a chance.
No, Big Brother would be interesting. That's coming back, isn't it? Big Brother was such a big thing when I was younger. It was those early series where Big Brother was and I'd imagine, and that was kind of before 24/7 live watching stuff was the thing, wasn't it? So what it's going to be like now, I have no idea. But yeah, used to be Big Brother. There we go. See you in Big Brother.
I think I'd be quite good in there.
I think it'd be good. I'd have to vote you out though, because I'd be like, look, this is 8 weeks. We haven't done a light bite show. I'd have to come in. We'd have to do one.
I'll have to go live from the Big Brother house in the diary room.
You'd be live in the diary room to do so. I've got to do podcasts for half an hour on a Thursday. I'm afraid that's my one commitment that I have to keep to. Big Brother. There we go. And final question is: what is your most embarrassing moment?
Oh. There's one, but it's kind of really disgusting at the same time, so I don't know if you'll want to hear it. But I remember I was on the way to me, my dad and my sister, Rochdale were playing Torquay midweek on a Tuesday, and then we were playing Swindon on a Saturday. So my dad thought, we'll go for a nice like caravan break. We'll travel up on the I think it was a Monday we travelled like there to Torquay, and we thought on the way back home we'll go to Swindon so we can get both games in, as well as obviously having some family time. So I don't really get travel sick, but my sister does, and on the way there, absolutely fine. Then going obviously towards Torquay and stuff, and nearly there, I felt really sick. So I was like, my dad couldn't pull over because on the motorway, there were nowhere to pull over. So he was like, right, Charlotte, you need to be careful now. I can't pull over. So you need to not be sick. We need to like hold it in just for a few more minutes. So I thought, no, I really need to be sick. So I opened the window.
Oh, no,
so I opened the window and thought, I need to be sick now. I got it out, but a big gust of wind came and blew it back in my face. But then obviously, we couldn't pull over anything, so I just had this sick all over me. I had nothing with me like to wipe it, so I'm just there in sick. My sister's in the front of the car judging me, looking at me, giving me the worst look ever, thinking, ew, What have you just done? My dad's flapping, thinking, what do I do? What do I do? I can't pull over. We're going to have to wait until we obviously get, because we weren't that far away from the caravan park, just wait there. So he's like putting his foot down, trying to get there. My sister's like staring at me. I'm just feeling this sick. So then obviously we have to get out. I'm obviously covered in sick still, so I get out and there's like all these people playing mini golf, looking at me, and I'm like, oh no. So
Have you got a towel?
Yeah, I was like, hi. So I think that's probably my most embarrassing moment, but it was so annoying because I got it out and it was skill, but then this big gust of wind, so annoying. So yeah, I think that's probably my most embarrassing moment, and getting judged by my sister at the time because she was old and young, and she was just staring at me like, "Have you just really done that?"
Like, yep, nothing I can do about it.
I'm like, now. Well, it looks like it, Amy. It looks like it.
Yeah, looks like I've smashed it. Very good, very good.
So yeah, that's probably mine.
That's your embarrassing moment. There we go. Well, I think we've done well. There's a lot of good questions we had in. A lot of good questions, good variety.
Yeah, very good.
I think we've covered quite a lot. So yeah, it's been really good and interesting to learn more about you as well. So from myself getting to the opportunity to chat to you about it, and hopefully everyone else has enjoyed that too. So something we're going to try and do with the other members of the team. Obviously, we do the podcast Talk Football just to understand us, and so hopefully get to know us a little bit more as well. So we're always available on the socials as well to sort of have conversations and contact. So no, thank you very much, Charlotte. It's been a fun chat. We've had a good evening. We've done 2 podcasts tonight. double shifts. It's double time, Josh, by the way. Double time for double shifts.
And thank you as well for obviously Amy.
Yeah, no problem. I think I lost you again there, Charles. Sorry, it disappeared a bit off at the end. I heard thank you. That's so thank you. That's okay. No problem at all. So yeah, so in the coming up episodes, there'll be, I think, the other one of us will do it, and we'll all kind of have our own turn sort of going around. But yeah, if you want to get hold of us on the podcast, of course, we are Absolute Football Podcast on Twitter. You can catch all our past episodes on YouTube, on Twitch, on Spotify, Amazon Music, all of that. We're going to be posting this up there as well. And so catch us on TikTok, catch us on Twitter, Instagram, all of the socials. And as we always do, Charlotte, where can we find you?
Well, I am most active on Twitter, and I am SharXRAFC on there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. And my Rochdale HerGameToo page is Rochdale HGT on all of them. And you can obviously find the Dale Way on all social media as well as Dale Way. And we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, just everywhere.
Absolutely, that's it. Get behind it all. Get behind it all. HerGameToo, follow it. Rochdale, follow it. All the other ambassadors, social ambassadors, all of Charlotte's friends at Rochdale. Get behind them all. That's fantastic. So we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining us. We've had a great time, and yeah, join us soon. Take care.